You want to have a better relationship with your teen? You want to build your connection with your teen? Then you absolutely, positively have to zippy the lippy and listen to your teen, all right? Because, oh man, well, here's the thing. Okay, you want to be listened to, right? Right. So I'm going to answer that question for you. Your teen is no different, all right? They want the exact same thing. That's why your teenager will go either social media or find a real live person to connect with, all right, that will listen to them. When your teen gets in a relationship, what is one of the main things that they say? Oh, that maybe you don't agree with their relationship and you're like, oh, you know what? I don't really like that person. I just think you should break up. They're not nice to you, they're not that good to you. And what do they say? But they listen to me. I love them. I really like her. I really love him because he listens to me. Your daughter's going to really say that way more than your son will. Okay, it doesn't mean your son doesn't want someone to listen to them, but your daughter really thinks in terms of like, oh my gosh, she doesn't just say, but I like him. She says, I love him, and because he listens to me. That is so important to her. Your son, yeah, does want someone to listen to. I remember, growing up, my brothers would come in to talk to me about girls because I listened to my brothers. I still listen to them, okay, to this day, because someone has to want to know what they're thinking, what they want to say, what how they're feeling. Your teen needs to have someone like that in their life. And hey, hopefully it's going to be you as the parent. Hopefully also you will be giving way better advice than another teenager per se. Okay, hey, there's some teenagers that are pretty wise and smart and that really do give good advice. So I'm not saying like all teenagers and like, oh my gosh, don't listen to them. Because there's some pretty smart teens that, hey, I know personally, and I love being around them. And the things that they say is so profound so many times. And that's one of the things too. Hey, don't miss out on that conversation with your own teen and listening to them and the things that they have to say. And sometimes some of the things that they can say is so off the wall and like, what? Where did you get that thought from? Where are you getting your information? Because there are a lot of people out there trying to plug in and pour into your teen that is nonsense. The stuff that they are pounding into your teen, is stuff that you may not want your teen to be believing or thinking and going down that road. But you're not going to know that unless you actually are listening to your teen. So whatever it is, just take time, listen to them. See, when we talked earlier, right, in the other video, that was talking about taking time to make time for your teen. That's the same thing, okay? This is all of this is going to correlate and go hand in hand, because if you're not making time to be with your teen, then how can you listen to your teen? You can't. So when you're listening to your teen, you don't have to agree with the things that they're saying or the things that you're hearing, okay? And you don't have to be like, so, what? Oh my gosh, that's so dumb. Why would you even think that way? You don't have to even react in a way, okay? Because sometimes they will say things to get you to react. So no, all right? Then just don't react to what they're saying. Don't react to what they're doing, okay? And just listen to them. And here's a really good thing too, okay? When you're listening to your teen, a lot of times the best way to do is this, that you're listening to your teen, that your teen is not your child, okay? That is a really good way to turn it and to not have them be, like under your skin so much. Because when it's not your child, you tend to be a lot less, you're less like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're saying that. You have a lot more grace. Let's just say that. So when it's not your child, you're like, oh, okay, all right. Okay, that makes sense. Then you react differently. I'll never forget when, I was a youth leader for so long. So in the beginning years, I remember when teenagers would find out that I had children or that I was even married. It was always so funny. And then my kids would even say this, why is it that you don't talk to them the way you talk to us? Well, because, and isn't this what we all say? Because that's not my child. And isn't that what you say when your child comes up to you and says, like, why don't you talk to them that way? Why don't you tell them, like, well, my friends don't do that. Well, my friends, they get to do this. And then what do you say? Well, that's because they're not my kid. And that's the same thing. So if you can reverse your mind, you can turn it a little bit and say, well, okay, this is my teenager, but I'm going to just act like that's not my child, and I'm going to listen to them in a way that it's not my child, okay? Because again, you're going to structure your thoughts differently. You're going to have reactions completely different as compared to it being your child. And it doesn't mean that you can't call them out on things, okay? But when you're listening, that's what you got to do, all right, is just really take that time to listen with your mouth shut, okay, because it really does matter. And the more you do this, okay, then you're building that relationship with your teen, because isn't that what you want? Yeah, it is. Your teen wants the same thing. So you cannot have a great relationship with anyone if there is no conversation and there's no talking and listening, okay, that the person is actually hearing you. That's why, again, that's what builds a really good relationship, is because people are being heard. And they're like, wow, I really like talking to that person because they really hear what I have to say. And that's what your teen wants. They really want you, mom, hey, dad, to hear what I have to say, because it should matter to you, because if it's important to them, it needs to be important to you. And that's how you show that it is important, because you listen with your mouth shut, all right? And then maybe later in some things you can say, remember when you were talking and you said this and you yourself did not really agree with it? Then you can later, after you've kind of pondered some things, and say like, well, maybe if you thought about it in a different way, and then you can approach them differently. And because you listened to them, they will then in turn, tend to, hey, want to hear what you have to say to them. And that's what you want too, right? You want to be able to talk with your teenager and have them hear you as well, and to listen to you as well. But I can't tell you how many teens that tell me, my mom, you know what? She just never listens to me. My dad, he never listens to me. They never listen to me. They want me to listen to them. They want me to have all that, but they don't ever listen to me. I don't get to say anything. But they get to tell me all the time, but I don't get to. So, hey, your teen wants that mutual respect. Your teen wants to be able to be heard. Your teen wants to have that relationship with you, their parent, their mom, their dad. They want that relationship. But again, they want to be listened to. They want to be heard. They want you to take the time to sit down, be in a drive, just whatever it is, to actually hear what they have to say, because hey, a lot of teens are hurting today and they need their parents. A lot of teens have deep things within them that they want to talk about, but they don't feel that they can with their parent because they're not approachable. And they think that their parent's just going to shoot them down, and their parent's not going to hear what they have to say. And their parent is just going to tell them, like, you're dumb. Why are you thinking that way? I can't believe you would even say that. So if you've been that parent, you don't have to stay that parent. If you have not listened to your teen, choose today to do so. You can put in this chat right now that, hey, you know what? I haven't actually listened to my teen. Hey, you know what? Be vulnerable and say that. But you know what? Today's going to be a new day, because I watched this video and I'm going to implement some of these tactics, what you've said, listen with my mouth shut. So put that in that chat and let me know. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you're thinking of this series and how you're implementing any of this into the life of you, your home, your teenager. And we have one more video in this series of connecting with your teen. So I will see you in the next video.